Welcome back, my little recusants, to another one of our episodes of our Pokemon Yellow episodic Nuzlocke. We have basically gone through the entire gym challenge, and we're now stepping foot into Victory Road. We've had to do a little bit of changing around with the teams, but don't worry, Amistar is still in the long run in the party, but we currently have Splishy here to help out with strength. I just wasn't willing to change around Amistar and give him strength and Stark as well. I just wasn't doing it, I wasn't in the humour. So basically Victory Road has some annoying strength puzzles, so Roxas just has to, batter around some boulders until we get them to slot into those little button mechanisms that you can see there, kind of the more orange circle. And we are keeping on repels, ladies and gentlemen. We are too long battling Pokemon for this lark. Okay, so we're going to just stick on repels, keep a strong Pokemon up front, and then once the boulder's there, basically there's little invisible walls deeper into the cave, and you need the boulder to be on the button to disable the invisible wall. The Legend of the Phoenix. But there are trainers to battle, so let's go. And the levels are, 100% really powerful, so as much as you might have been saying, oh my god, you grinded up to level 40 something when you were going to go fight Koga at level 50, and I'm like, yeah. And you managed to beat those other gym leaders in around the mid 40s, but stuff is by no means easy. And then I'm kind of like, ugh, I have the type advantage, so I'm gonna just try. But will Splishy be able to deal with Pokemon in their 40s if he has the type advantage? And the answer is yes, he can. Why did we ever doubt? Splishy has always been an absolute powerhouse. So, as I say, I'm not really too worried about collecting items. If I'm ever in a big bit of worry, I can go and hunt down for certain things. But I don't think we're going to be in that much of a struggle, to be honest. And the unfortunate thing is, it's not, well, at least in Gen 1, it's not as if you can now move back through the cave and everything will still be there. Unfortunately, if I leave this area, the boulder's going to unselect itself from the button, and if I want to get back, I'm going to have to move it again. But here we basically have a very interesting trainer. I thought it would have been so cool if this particular trainer had a Bulbasaur, Wartortle, Charmeleon and Raichu kind of going through the 4 different starters, but he doesn't, and it's kind of a bit of a shame. He has, in fact, a Ivysaur, a Wartortle, a Charmeleon, and then a Charizard, which I'm like, oh come on, you could have had a Raichu and then it would have been really interesting. Especially just, because I always say it, I'm like, the typical teams that go through the Elite Four are Pikachu, Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise, Snorlax, something else, maybe a ghost type. But speaking of ghost types, Chrysalis is leveling up because he is just proving super useful against it's funny, early game you're kind of terrified of Rattatas and Raticates because of Hyper Fang, and now it's you're terrified of the crit Persians, But essentially with Chrysalis, we just have no fear of normal types. They literally can do sweet F all to us, which is just brilliant. And I'm going to just show you this puzzle again. I'm just showing you it the first time. And if you have to go back and forth, just know you're going to have to do it again, basically. But there does come a certain point in the game where I get turned about and I end up having to go back and forward a little bit, so I'm just not going to be showing you the complete journey. I'll just show you a journey from beginning to end and how to get through. But as I say, once you have an escape rope and can fly to the Indigo Plateau, once you get through once, you're kind of sorted, Anyway, this guy has fighting types, so just like with normal types, I think the ghost immunity is so slept on in terms of like, it's only immune, like first of all it's immune to 2 types, which I don't believe any other type is immune to that many. So that's pretty much amazing on its own. And what Ghost is immune to is legitimately a really common roster of a bunch of different moves. You know, a lot of Pokemon have normal moves, a lot of Pokemon that are fighting only have normal and fighting moves. The only exception... Oh, excuse me. The only exception to this, obviously, is... Remember what we were talking about with Nightshade? Nightshade does fixed damage, and therefore certain fighting types, like the Machop line, will have Seismic Toss, and therefore your Ghost type is not immune to Seismic Toss, so be careful. But as Roxas is journeying through the Elite Four, like Roxas has beaten Giovanni, he's now on a mission to go and, you know, he's stopped Team Rocket. Giovanni has kind of said, look, you're right, go see Mewtwo wherever he is. Talk with him, see if you can reason with him perhaps. I've put all these resources into trying to gather the Master Ball, gather Pokemon to fight and control him, but maybe your approach is the right one. And he's now basically going forward to essentially become the champion, and hopefully with that level of like prestige, he can maybe figure out where Mewtwo is, maybe like tap into the police force, let them know that like the rockets have been stopped, etc. And maybe they can help him with finding Mewtwo. Well, Roxas is also curious about this Moltres. This Pokemon that ended his family's life, father's life, that destroyed the entire burned mansion in Cinnabar Island. He basically is out for revenge at this point, and Huntress, again, circling back to our character development, Huntress has always wanted to be the most powerful flying type. And what would cement her in flying type glory would be to like take down the legendary Firebird Moltres. Now, Mr. Mime is tricky. Why he went to use Double Slap when he would clearly have like some sort of super effective psychic move is beyond me, but Gen 1 is crazy, so I should not be surprised when Gen 1 does crazy things, but I also am like, yeah, it still does crazy things, and it shocks me. As much as Takedown would have been so much better on Pidgeot, it at least allows Flare to be a really good mixed attacker. So there's that. And what I could never understand is, that guy's meant to be a juggler. Their whole unique trainer AI is that they swap Pokemon regularly. And they give a juggler with this unique situation, what? 1 Pokemon? Makes little to no sense. I don't get it, can't fathom it, don't understand it, doesn't make sense. But, as I say, I'm kind of like, let's get Sunny up here. We're in a cave, we're probably going to come across rock types, so might as well be getting our little piranha plant some levels. And, ooh, item. We've heard rumors of a child prodigy. Oh my god, is it me? It probably is me. It's definitely not Sora. We're definitely not the same age. And if anything, prodigies are generally like, you know, gifted savants that are like untrained. He had all the advantages being from like the Professor Oak training lab and all, and his grandpa being a professor and everything. So like, if anything, it's more prestigious that I am so talented with Pokemon, considering, you know, my mom ain't exactly a Pokemon professor, you know? And then the cool trainer using an X attack, I'm like, okay. In what world is your grass psychic type, the two types that are specialized in special attacking, in what world is giving them an X attack a bright idea? And then you even send out a hard counter, you're like, I know my type matchups. I'm going to send out my water type against this fire type. And probably knows Hydro Pump and just didn't use it. So you have a great fire, water, grass core. I too have a great fire, water, grass core. It's pretty brilliant. But you've just completely not let your water type deal with a fire type, you know? And fair enough. Arcanine does a bit like Flare, have like things like Takedown. But he just refuses to make any sort of attacks. Roxas is kind of like blinking, being like, you guys have literally gotten all 8 badges. And yet, in like trainer to trainer combat, you're useless. And he's like, oh my god, you must be the child prodigy. And I'm like, well, now you just feel like you're calling me a child prodigy just to, you know, big yourself up. And he's like, no, it's fine, because I've heard that, you know, you're the trainer that stopped Team Rocket in their tracks and defeated Giovanni. No, like, me losing Shiu isn't so bad, so, because, like, you're a legend. And I'm like, oh my god. Roxas is like, oh, come on. Don't be putting me on hero worship already, you know? And, ladies and gents, I believe this technically was our Victory Road encounter. Am I going to be bothered catching an Onyx? No. Will I rue to regret the day I don't have a level 50 Onyx on my team? No. I really don't think I will be. The rock ground type with the lowest physical attack of, you know, for something that doesn't evolve is a bit ridiculous. Like, no. I don't regret not catching it. And just for any naysayers, I was not putting on repels in the hopes to then have my first encounter be Moltres in the cave, and then I'm legitimately allowed to capture it. That 100% wasn't the plan. The plan was always to have a showdown with Huntress. Just, if anyone's thinking, oh, I see what you tried to do there, but you didn't take into account the level jumps in the different floors of the cave, and now you've spoiled yourself from being able to legitimately, in air quotes, encounter a legendary bird and take it for yourself. Because let me tell you something else. We don't need another fire type because we already have the best fire type in the game. We have Ninetales, we have Flare, she is the absolute queen of barbecue. She, you know, does everything 110%. Things are always well done by her in the, you know, barbecue sense of being barbecued to well done perfection, and are done well in terms of she does great things. You know, she's amazing. But yeah, we don't care about the encounters now. We're just like, get this silly ball onto the button, please. But yeah, like, Victory Road is actually proving more of a slog than even like Giovanni and like Sabrina. And I suppose it comes down to this one very simple thing, and it's a bit of an issue I've sometimes had with the gym trainers and the gym leaders particularly. So many of these battles are so much more interesting because they actually have type variety of movesets, and some sort of synergy between them, you know? Like that other trainer with the Arcanine, Executor and Cloyster. Like nearly all dual types. Great coverage. Could have potentially been super effective against lots of different things. Whereas God love poor Parasect. Parasect is like the inverse of like good type coverage. It is a dual type whose dual types just make it so incredibly weak. It is 4 times weak to fire, 4 times weak to flying, and in this gen specifically, 4 times weak to poison, as well as 4 times weak to ice, I believe. But can you see how these ace trainers are interesting? It's literally like bug, grass, water, ice. You know, there's a lot of interplay to be thought about. And then I don't know where I get the balls or the gumption to think to do this. I have much less than half HP. I'm against something that's super effective. I was like, oh my days. I don't trust quick attack. That's the moment that quick attack will come up short and it won't work. So I swap over to Chrysalis. But like that should have been an immediate swap anyway. Oh my god. Stress. But Huntress getting a level, we appreciate that. And now look at my foolishness with regards to this. I should have Dream Eatered. Chansey has so much HP that I would have been fully restored. And then I do something even more silly. I don't just swap over to Splishy. Splishy would have had super high attack, could have done tons of damage. And instead I'm like, no, it's fine. I'm going to use the recoil damaging inflicting move on the Pokemon with the highest health going. And then I go, oh my god, if I use takedown again. Thank god that missed. If I had a hit with that, Flare would have KO'd herself. If I had a hit with that, I would have done probably like 120 plus damage and Flare would have been killed with recoil damage. So now I'm like, oh my god, put this Chansey to sleep. This silly Chansey. And Chansey doesn't know soft boiled. Chansey only learns soft boiled via TM. And thank god she doesn't, because she would actually be an unkillable wall of chaos. So bad. And there's a special defense for you, because special is special attack and special defense. It has super high specials, so it has all the HP in the world. It has all of this. But you know what could have been useful? And I only remember it now. And I never teach it to Sunny. But Toxic. Toxic would have been great. Toxic Poison could have been really cool. It would have helped deal with Chansey's anyway. I'm really sorry, I have such a little cough today. Oh my god. Hopefully they're all edited out. But yeah, now I'm just like, oh my goodness. Just let me do my growths, please. Just let me do something, please. And now it's minimizing, and I'm like, oh lord, no. But yeah, that was a pain. That was super annoying. And there's also no harm in, you know, realizing when you're probably beat. Going back to get more hyper potions. Getting things like full heals. There is no shame in going back to get full heals or awakenings, etc. Because the last thing you want to do is cause casualties because you didn't just use the multiple escape ropes you have. I'm not foreshadowing, I swear I'm not. But you know, sometimes if you just have a Pokemon asleep that could be really useful, you don't want that to really happen, you know? Oh god. So Roxas continues on, battling past trainer after trainer. And now we get a grass type specialist. And this is the most boring trainer in like all of Victory Road. I think she's like a reference to the anime when there is a trainer with a Bellsprout in the anime. I think that's what she's a reference of. But this trainer just has all the Bellsprout line. So, if Flare wasn't asleep, I could have very much, used her to just one-shot all of these silly grass types with my really powerful fire type that I really like having and using on the team. But I decided, no, I'm not going to escape rope and fly back to restock on useful healing items because I don't need them. I don't need them because I'm not going to get crit. I'm not going to get overwhelmed by various different situations. Oh, guys, just forewarned is forearmed. What do they say in Scouts? Like, always be prepared. Luck favors the prepared. You're never gonna be better to have something and not want it than need it and not have it. Anyway, guys, this is going to be where our episode's going to end. And I've never done this, but I was like, it's too much of a cliffhanger. I need to leave it at a nail-biting conclusion. But we have a Kingler. And Kingler, in fact, is quite powerful. We've never had to fight one before. And I can't risk Chrysalis if he misses another Hypnosis, so I'm like, okay. Let's go to our bulky, strong water type. And there's actually a move he has called Guillotine. And Guillotine is a one-hit KO move. I was not aware that it was a one-hit KO move. And I was kind of ignorant to the absolute terror that awaited me. I was like, oh, wasn't affected. Cool, I'll just keep going. And then I was like, but, what is Guillotine like after the fact? And then I use Dragon Rage. I'm like, oh, I don't need to, like, beat Kingler with green hit points. I can take another Stomp attack. I have so much positive vibes going now. Things are surely going to keep going great. And, oh, guys, this was really, really, really bad. Because then he puts a barrier and I'm like, oh great, so now Huntress, my physical hitter, is literally useless. Like, look at the damage. Look at the damage. I'm like, okay, Flare's asleep. Can't even use takedown with Flare because she's asleep. Pikachu is getting bodied by, like, the weakest water attack ever. So we're under pressure, guys, and that's where we're going to leave the episode. I'm not sure where we're going to go. Because out comes Blastoise and we might be in trouble. Check out next episode to see how we get out of this. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.